2005, Rafa Benitez, Liverpool, fresh from Istanbul, the club that everyone's talking about, and a big money move for you. But if this interview has taught us one thing, it's that for every up, there's always a little bit of a down, some kind of a correction. You didn't get off to a flyer at Anfield. What happened there?
No, yeah, exactly right. Yeah, it took me ages to score. I think it was 18 games. Not that I was counting, but yeah, it was a frustrating time. In all honesty, I'd come to a club like Liverpool, and I just wanted to do everything the manager asked of me, And at that time, he was demanding in the fact that I was my work outside the box, and I think I was probably too unselfish. In the fact that I was trying to, do exactly what he wanted me to do and do all my work outside the box and maybe, I wasn't getting in the box and that was the main problem. And I wasn't scoring.
Were you told that? Because it's fascinating. There are certain strikers, and Michael Owen's a classic one, and he'll always tell you, he said, I would be the most selfish I could possibly be.
Yeah.
Did someone have to say that to you, or did you figure it out?
No, exactly right. Yeah, I think, it was dark times, don't get it wrong. There was times where I thought, I just want to go back to Southampton. I want to go back there and I want to, I was at a huge club and I was getting ridiculed. I couldn't turn on the telly because it was like, he hasn't scored for so-and-so and this and that. It was 20 hours, it was 21 hours. And because you're at such a high-profile club, I hadn't had that before. It's everywhere. It's the front page of newspapers, back page of newspapers. It's in the middle, It's not like you haven't scored. And it's everywhere I went, it was like, I felt like people were laughing at me. And thankfully, I got it off my back. I scored one, and then it went on from there.
Yeah, just going back to this business, because whatever else had happened to clubs, and we talked about clubs being relegated, we talked about, external factors, you had tended to score goals. So as a striker, as someone who's stock in trade of scoring goals, what happens when it doesn't work? So is it a vicious cycle? Do you start snatching at chances that otherwise you would have relaxed into?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's it becomes psychological. But I have to say the Liverpool fans and the people around the place were incredible with me. It felt like the rest of the world was having a go at me and constantly digging me, and I felt that people from Liverpool seem to take that mentality that if you're one of them, or from Liverpool or part of the team, they like to, if they take you in and they're with you, then they're on your side, and it's sort of us against them mentality. And I really felt that, and it helped me. And I genuinely believe that if I was at another club, I might not have made it through, to out the other side. But thankfully I did, and it was the best thing I ever did.
And you broke your duck against Wigan. There's a couple of goals there. And then actually, if you move on to what happened in 6-7, then things are really going for you. So whether it's a perfect hat-trick against Arsenal, whether it's Gerrard's final, and then ultimately we're talking about a European Cup final as well, suddenly the big time with Liverpool, and that must have been fun.
It was the best time of my career. It's what I look back on with the fondest memories. Like you say, after that difficult, sticky spell, came through it, and it was the best time. So, like you say, the hat trick against Arsenal, winning the FA Cup. I grew up with the FA Cup. I didn't grow up with the Champions League. The FA Cup was the one to win, and to see my dad up in the crowd and win the FA Cup, that was incredible.
And an amazing game as well.
Yeah, it was a great game. Yeah, I mean, I do thank Steven Gerrard every time that I see my FA Cup winners medal for his performance. But it was incredible. And like you say, the Champions League, there was moments in that Champions League where we got to the final again in Athens, and I think for me, we should have won. We could have won that game. I'll be sitting here a Champions League winner, and it was easily one of the best times. I was playing for England and playing for Liverpool, and loving every minute of it.
Tell us a bit about Steven Gerrard, because you've been fortunate to play, whether for England or for clubs alongside some really powerful, influential players. But the way he was at that football club at that time in that dressing room, he was the man, wasn't he?
Yeah, I do say that when you see top players, it is a real eye opener. I think because the way top players move on from one game to the next is incredible. And I always remember with Jamie Carragher and Steven Gerrard was the one thing. Obviously, I played with some great players, some fantastic players over the years, amazing ability. But for me, it was the attitude of just when you've come off the back of say a Champions League win on a Tuesday, and then you've got maybe a less glamorous game away Watford or, on the Saturday. The approach being that, we might have won against Barcelona, as we did in the new camp, 2-1. And then Saturday will be a Premier League game. It's the exact same preparation. That game's completely gone. Whereas, if I'd have scored a hat-trick or something, I'd be like, right, let me enjoy this for a bit, Yeah. Whereas you see their mentality, it's literally gone straight away and it's on to the next game. And that's why they've been at the top for so long.
And that's just absolute professionalism, something you could take on board.
Something that you relate to, and like you say, if ever I'm a coach or a manager, and it's something that I want to take and hopefully pass on, because it's something that I learned when I was at Liverpool was. Certainly as soon as the game's finished, it's gone. It's on to the next one, and that's why they stay at the top level for so long.
Just going back to the Champions League final, you said you felt it was one you shouldn't have lost. What happened?
For me, I don't know. I just felt that team was probably not as good as the Milan team that Liverpool beat in 2005. I think it was the same team, but just a little bit older. I thought that team was there for the taking. We ended up playing with 5 in midfield and Dirk Kuyt up front on his own, and I just felt that if we'd have gone for it a bit more, then we, not saying I should have played, but maybe I should have. But there was Bellamy on the bench. We had other options to maybe really go at them, and I just felt we sat back a little bit too much, and that's probably my one big regret in football, that I'd like to be sitting here now with a Champions League winners' medal on the wall rather than a runners-up medal.
When you reflect on your time at Liverpool, because obviously what happens is signings are made and a certain Fernando Torres arrives from Atletico. Do you have to accept that when you're part of a huge club like that, the strikers are going to come in, that you can score all the goals in the world, but you might sit out a Champions League final from the start, or you might find somebody else coming in? Is that something you just have to reconcile? Yeah,
it's something that I had to think about long and hard. Obviously, like Fernando Torres came in and he was out of this world. He was fantastic, and obviously, as long as he's fit, he starts. I know that, and that's something that I had to take, and I had to take a back step. And from being the main man, I was scoring loads of goals in Liverpool, England, and I had to take a back seat, and that was hard to take, and it was fully understandable because he was on fire. And I knew I would play games, but I just felt that. I wanted to play more. I wanted to carry on playing for England. And I wanted to keep the number 9 shirt for England, and I needed to be playing. So I had to make a real difficult decision. And I felt that at the time maybe they accepted an offer, so maybe that spells the writing on the wall for you, really.
So as you say then, the offer came in, which in a way was good, but your career seems to just go around in circles. There are themes, aren't there? One of them being Tottenham Hotspur, Harry Redknapp being the other. Did it just feel right?
It did, It was certainly something that when I left there, I felt that I hadn't achieved what I was set out to achieve there. I wanted to play for Tottenham as a kid, and obviously when they came in, I think it was Tottenham and Fulham at the time, and obviously Harry being there was a big factor for me to go to Tottenham, and it was great because obviously having been there as a kid, I finally got in the first team dressing room, which was nice. And Ledley King was sitting in the same position I left him all those years ago, so it was great, And I went back there, and it was a fantastic move for me.